Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Girl.
Oh, little booby.
Hey, turkeys, this is Dan and Margie.
Hello.
We're the Gen Xers.
Hello, hello.
Not some Gen Xers.
The
Gen
Xers. The creme de la creme.
It's our last name, Dan and Margie Gen Xer.
Yeah. I've heard we're the creme de la creme of podcasts, is what I've heard.
Indeed.
Discerning. The
Indeed.
discerning tastes. No, I was feeling bad yesterday. I'm glad that there's some, you guys showed up today with us because we did have to postpone the show. I feel a little bit better. I feel a lot better, actually, from yesterday. But if you hear stomach gurglings, it's probably Dan.
It's me.
It's totally Dan.
Could be the dog.
Yeah, it's probably the dog.
Look, we got a heck of a show for you all. Partly of which I feel woefully underprepared for when we start talking about the nature of evil. But I mean, there's no way to prepare enough. It's complicated.
Right. Very complex.
We've got a lot going on, yeah. It's our first of 4 Halloween shows, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit. It's definitely going to be a spooktacular, but I've noticed something really spooky lately, Margaret.
What's that?
Pumpkin spice is back.
You think that's spooky?
Well, I mean, it's your people that like it, right?
My people.
Middle-aged women.
Well, it is kind of a divisive seasoning. And I think it gets more and more divisive as the years go on. Mainly because it permeates everything. And I think by the time you get done, because, pumpkin spice starts in, what now? July now. And then it goes until December. Because it kind of goes into the Christmas stuff, too. Mm-hmm. So by the time you get to January, you're like, I just want some fresh air. That's all I want.
Yeah. I mean, it's everywhere, and you're right. It's divisive. People get mad about it, like on social media or whatever. I don't understand how mad people get about stuff other people like that's a matter of a taste sometimes. But it does seem to get all pervasive
this
time of year. And for some reason, everyone blames the ladies.
Well, okay, so let me give you some examples of what they have out this year. Mm-hmm. And the list, every year, this list gets crazier and crazier. So we have stuff that's slightly unusual, like pumpkin spice popcorn.
It's somewhat reasonable, I'm sure, if you like it.
Well, I know that you throw candy in your popcorn sometimes.
Yeah. You haven't lived until you've thrown some M&Ms in a piping hot bucket of popcorn.
That's right. You haven't lived. Pumpkin spice mac and cheese. How about that?
Less reasonable, but I'm not gonna, whatever people like, I'm fine with it.
Pumpkin spice spam.
As long as you're not hurting nobody, sure.
Right? There's highly unusual. There's toothpicks. Well, I put that under highly unusual, but we have mint toothpicks, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So pumpkin spice, I could see that. How about pumpkin spice toilet paper?
I guess I don't know. See the point? Your butt's going to enjoy that, I guess. I don't know.
That's a big fat no for me. And also something called Dumpkin and Spice Dude Wipes.
All right. I am judging now. Dudes, don't be dumpking yourselves up this October.
Dumpkin and Spice. Get it?
I get it.
You get it, Dan?
Yeah, the marketing team can have it back, but I definitely get it.
How about pumpkin and spice deodorant?
I mean, that's probably something Old Spice. Look, I remember when Old Spice had one smell, and it smelled like old, and it smelled like spice. And I liked it. It's what my dad wore. It's what I wore when I become a man. Now it's got a million different whatever, and pumpkin spice is probably one of them.
Probably.
But they call it tiger veins. But it smells like pumpkin spice.
Right. Yeah, when we were young, there was one spice, and it was old.
Yeah. It was either that, if you were an adult, it was either that, Brute, or High Karate. You had 3 choices of aftershave.
That's right.
We were an Old Spice family.
When Polo came out, that was a huge deal.
Yeah.
That was Ralph Lauren, wasn't it? Polo?
I don't know. I think it was Ralph Macchio.
Ralph, I know he probably wore it. I'm sure everybody wore it back in the day. That was something you could smell back in the day, no matter where you went.
That's true.
Polo. But yeah, no, I think the anger just comes from the saturation, which is what we do.
Yeah.
What we do with a good thing, we just saturate until we're sick of it.
Chris says Sam Adams makes a good fall pumpkin ale, which back in my drinking days, I didn't mind a pumpkin spice, ale or something like that this time of year.
Yeah, or a cider.
Yeah.
Some sort of cider.
But I didn't want it with a side of pumpkin spice macaroni and cheese, probably.
Or Spam.
You know what's really another scary thing this month already?
What?
Well, first, let me tell you how I learned about this story. I get all my news from Entertainment Weekly. And only because they report daily on what goes on The View do I know this story, because I kind of get all my news third hand, not only from Entertainment Weekly, but from their interpretation of how Joy Behar or Whoopi react to this.
Right.
And I think I proved last week that the only two people left in the world that read this magazine are me and the president.
Right.
And that's probably why, because they cover The View.
Right.
Anyway, apparently, there's a new actor, Tilly Norwood, who's totally AI. I guess she's got an agent or a whatever representation. And now this is the future. What do you think of that?
I don't know that it's the future. There's a big uproar over this. I don't know. I know that AI, when I view a helpful AI model, I envision, as a tech bro, I envision a helpmate, basically. Somebody to help you brainstorm, somebody to help you organize your thoughts, or, hey, that sort of thing. Like, I don't know that...
My mind immediately goes to Cylons, but that's because Battlestar Galactica is one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I don't know. It's taken over YouTube. YouTube now has a new feature where you can make an entire short by giving its AI thing a prompt, and it'll make it for you. I mean, at first they were like, oh, we don't want all AI videos and this and that. Now it seems like they're changing course.
And that's okay?
I'm not saying it's okay. I don't necessarily like it, but it might be the wave of the future, whether we like it or not.
Well, SAG-AFTRA didn't think audiences in general would like it. Their statement was, from what we've seen, audiences are not interested in watching computer-generated content untethered from the human experience.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think the AI actor is untethered from human experience, even though she was created? But, like, where does she become untethered, I guess, is the question I'm asking. Like, she was created by a human who cued AI to kind of make her, and that AI was created from human content. So where is the...
So you're saying what's the difference than just watching a regular animated movie?
I don't know that I'm saying that.
Oh, well, I mean, it is a form of animation, I guess. But, I mean, I'd want to know ahead of time, I guess.
Like, it's more... Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry to them, because I'm sure that our microphone really
it's my illness. Sorry. No, I guess no, animation to me is completely different. Okay. Because you're directly animating. You're directly telling, laying out the drawing or the animation how you want it. So that's you directing it. AI doesn't take your concrete, like, full-on direction unless you want it to.
Yeah.
So, if you have an actress that's out there talking to agents, I mean, she's not a puppet on a string. She's doing some of that, quote unquote, on her own. I don't know.
I mean, I guess she communicates just like ChatGPT or Gemini, with the large language model system. So I'm sure it sounds pretty good and all of that. I mean, it's amazing what it can do. It's just, I don't think... Okay, well, I mean, first it's taking a bunch of stuff from all these different artist and influencer or whatever. That's how these things work. So it's, but again, that's also how humans make art. They take all this stuff that's been in their brain subconsciously and they put together in something new. So I don't know. All I know is if you show me two paintings and they look exactly the same, and I know one of them is from a human, it's going to mean more to me because I'm going to know there was real emotion behind it. Is that logical? Probably not. But, I mean, I can understand heartbreak, and a computer can't. I don't know. Does that even make sense?
Kind of, yeah. Kind of it does.
Yeah.
No, I see what you're saying. And you kind of talked, too, about, how directly involved are you with that creation. But also, I just thought of something, too. Something that will make us a ton of money. Well, what we do is we create an AI agent.
Okay.
To represent this AI actress. And then...
Oh, I thought you meant to represent us.
No, to represent the AI. Well, I mean, us too. Sure, why not? Why couldn't we?
Well, let's just start an AI movie company, an AI audience, and we'll have it all. We won't need anything else.
Well, I see there's holes in my plan.
Apparently, a lot of Facebook's audience is AI now, but I don't know. Well,
I hope not.
It's getting harder and harder to tell, that's for sure. What do you all think? AI art, thumbs up, thumbs down? I mean, I've definitely used it for fonts and some for still frames and stuff in some of our videos because I can't draw and I don't like getting copyright strikes. But, I mean, we write and edit and produce all of our own shows. We do as much of it as we can.
Right. You do a lot of that on your own. And when you do it, it's very much a help sort of thing. And you're very direct about what you want. You're directing the art in that case, I think. I did write that I didn't... Okay, so Tilly's creator presented her as a person. Okay? Mm-hmm. But then she also states that Tilly Norwood, which is the AI actress that she created, is a work of art. Although works of art don't usually sit on Graham Norton's couch and give interviews and go talk to agents. So on one hand, she's presenting this as a real actress by inserting her in real situations like an interview on the Graham Norton show, which there's pictures of her on Graham Norton's couch talking to Graham Norton.
I mean, didn't somebody interview Max Headroom back in the day? He was the first AI.
Yeah, well...
No one under 50 knows anything about the reference I just made.
I bet they do. I bet there's people that know. But that's where I think that we should go back to the drawing board and see exactly what we want to do with AI. Because on one hand, this lady's presenting this as a work of art, as AI. But on the other hand, she's presenting it as a real person. And that becomes a problem when you have people like kids who can't differentiate which is real and which isn't. So that's where I think the presentation of her could have been done better.
Well, look, I don't give a lot of hot takes on this channel. I try to, be a measured person in general. Unless it's about bean prices. I've got a couple of those.
Right.
But I have given one before where I said, and I stand by it, I know it's divisive and it's not, whatever. Feel free to disagree. I don't think you're wrong necessarily, but just what I believe. That kids should not be allowed to be actors. I mean, when 8 out of 10 of the kids who came from Nickelodeon are messed up and, all the horror stories we've gotten, I just do not think it should be legal. Yeah, let AI be the kid actors and we'll just have it like that, right? I don't know.
I mean, it could work for those purposes to make it a healthier environment, I guess.
That's a Dan's hot take.
It's Dan's hot take?
Feel free to disagree. It gets that old algorithm going. And if you know who Max Headroom is, give us a thumbs up there.
Yeah. You know what's super duper scary this month?
What's that?
Super duper scary, and I know you've talked about this. That comedy festival.
Ooh. All right. We do a segment called We're Not Mad, We're Just Disappointed. Somebody does something dumb and we got to talk about it a little bit. Like parents, which we are.
I think it's time.
All right.
We're not mad.
We're just disappointed.
We're just disappointed.
And I'm pretty disappointed this time around. All right, we got a whole section on this channel called Comedy Nerd because we both love comedy. We love stand-up comedy. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a big comedy festival in Saudi Arabia right now for some prince who has had a journalist put to death, not to mention sanctioned oppression toward women or whatever. I'm not going to get too far in the weeds of that. Other than a whole bunch of comedians went over there for a bunch of money to perform for this fella. And we can't read the whole list because there's a ton of them. But there's 3 in particular I'd like to point out because they're Gen Xers and they're supposed to have some integrity. And that's Bill Burr, who we have reviewed some of his stuff on here before highly and talked about how much we like him. Dave Chappelle, we've reviewed a couple of his comedy specials on here. There's probably no more of a comedian more associated with Gen X than Dave Chappelle, other than maybe Ben Stiller, but he's not stand-up. And Louis C.K., I mean, enough said about that. Although
right.
Louis was a good show. Anyway.
Yeah, there was something quoted, and it wasn't, I don't think it was these guys that said this, but there was one of the comedians that was quoted as saying something like, they paid us enough money to look the other way. There ain't money enough. Like, I'm sorry. That's where you're wrong. That's where you have the wrong answer, period. And I'm all about, making your own choices and, the consequences are yours and all that. But I'm sorry. That's the wrong answer.
Bill Burr went viral 2 months ago ranting about billionaires and insurance companies, and I was totally on board with it. I agree, but boy, how quickly that turns. Shane Gillis, very funny comedian, a younger guy if you know him. He turned it down, got offered twice as much money, and turned it down again. So, a little integrity there at least.
Yeah, thank you, Shane.
Anyway, yeah.
Oh, that was hard.
Sorry, that hurt us more than it did you.
Yeah, it really did.
All right. Now I guess we're getting to the crux, the shank of the evening,
right.
As old JR used to say on wrestling.
Right.
Every week this month, we're going to review a different classic scary movie. It's Halloween month. 2 of them we're doing a deep dive on. The one we have this week, The Exorcist, and then the lesser-known Phantasm, which I will be doing.
You think it's much lesser known than... Well, I mean, I'm sure it's a little bit lesser known. It's still pretty known, I think.
But yeah, we're going to be doing a deep dive on the movie. We're going to talk about the true story behind it. It was based on a true story.
Yeah.
And Margie's mom worked at the hospital where it happened, and we have an exclusive interview with her, and it's pretty spooky. Your mom's a good storyteller. You definitely want to stick around for that.
Yeah.
And then we hope you join us for a discussion on the nature of evil. I put up a poll. We'll talk about that a little bit. Do you believe in evil with a capital E? Don't answer yet.
I won't.
We've got to have something to get these guys to come back.
Right.
Anyway, here comes our Exorcist deep dive. We hope you enjoy it. It might be a little scary, so, keep that in mind.
I'm Bill Blatty, and I was born in Brooklyn, just a few blocks from American Legion Post number 804.
In 1968, William Peter Blatty was doing fairly well as a comedic writer. After having won $10,000 on You Bet Your Life.
You just won a total of $10,000. Now, what are you going to do with all that money?
It's going to finance me to finish the next book.
Before this windfall, Blatty had been employed as a door-to-door vacuum salesman, a public relations director, and an airline ticket agent. But he now had the means to make his living full-time as a writer, and he was good at it. 3 of his comedic novels had already achieved critical success, with Marvin Levin from the New York Times writing, "Nobody can write funnier lines than William Peter Blatty," although success in book sales had yet to be seen. 1968 was the year Rosemary's Baby, a horror movie about paranoia, Catholicism, and the occult came out, and Blatty, a devout Catholic, went to see it. And the film stuck with him, but not in a good way. He deemed the ending schlocky and simplistic, reducing the devil to a joke. He imagined a story that would delve deeper into spiritual struggles, making the question of faith more central. And he remembered a story he heard long ago when he'd attended Georgetown University a story about a 14-year-old boy who'd undergone a series of exorcisms there at the Georgetown Hospital and later at a hospital in St. Louis. The movie, Rosemary's Baby, and the story he'd heard long ago stuck with him, inspiring Blatty's novel The Exorcist, which was published in 1971 and which was decidedly not a comedic novel. The novel involved Roland Doe, a boy who lived in Cottage City, Maryland in 1949. That year, Roland's aunt, some say her name was Tilly, some say Harriet, with whom he shared an interest in spiritualism and the occult, died. His aunt had shown Roland how to communicate with the spirit world using a Ouija board. And soon after her death, Roland and his family began complaining of hearing scratching on the walls, of Roland's bed and chair shaking, and of things moving inexplicably in his house and his room. Roland underwent a series of physical and psychological testing, with doctors ruling out anything abnormal. But his family continued to seek answers, and they consulted with their own Lutheran minister, Reverend Schultz. After visiting with the family, Schultz wrote to Duke University's parapsychology lab, "Please tell me this is still a thing," seeking assistance, writing about Roland, quote, "Chairs moved with him, and one threw him out. His bed shook whenever he was in it. A picture of Christ shook when the boy was near." The Jesuit priests at Georgetown Hospital agreed to perform an exorcism on the boy after hearing this evidence from his parents and Reverend Schultz. During this exorcism, Roland allegedly got free from his restraints, broke a bed spring loose, and cut one of the priest's arms. After this attempt, the boy's family reported seeing the word Louis appear in scratches on Roland's chest, and his mother, a native of St. Louis, took it as a sign that she should return to her hometown. In St. Louis, Roland purportedly underwent, quote, between 20 and 30 performances of the ancient ritual of exorcism, according to the Washington Post, describing the incident as perhaps one of the most remarkable experiences of its kind in recent religious history. Fathers Bodern, Van Roo, and Halloran led the charge in St. Louis at Alexian Brothers Hospital, with Roland breaking Halloran's nose during one attempt. But Roland entered the hospital under alleged demonic possession on March 21st, 1949, and emerged demon-free by mid-April. And, according to the Post, went on to a normal life by all secretive accounts. After his death, Roland Doe was identified as Ronald Hunkeler, who died at age 85 in 2020 after having developed heat-resistant panels amongst some of his work, working as an engineer for NASA. His companion, at the time of his death, a 29-year-old anonymous source, whose descriptive role as companion is not explained any further, claimed that Ronald had denied the exorcism was real in talking with her about his life, saying, "He said he wasn't possessed. It was all concocted. He said, I was just a bad boy." Although this companion also added that a priest came to Ronald's house to give him last rites just before his death, although she hadn't contacted any priest, and she claimed that Ronald was unable to. "I have no idea how the Father knew to come, but he got Ron to heaven," she said. Blatty's novel, The Exorcist, quickly sold 13 million copies after it was published in 1971, and Blatty sold the film rights to Warner Brothers. Blatty adapted the screenplay himself from his book, The Exorcist, eventually winning a Golden Globe and Oscar in 1974 for Best Adapted Screenplay. He was also nominated for Best Picture as one of the producers of the film. The Exorcist movie was released December 26th, 1973, Merry Christmas, to sold-out crowds and long lines that went on for blocks. Although his book was very popular, it would eventually be the movie that made a far more lasting legacy for William Peter Blatty. William Friedkin, and he also directed a little film called The French Connection, was The Exorcist's director. And he used groundbreaking visuals and sound and a dramatic pacing of the narrative to create an ominous atmosphere that built tension as the audience got to know Regan. Blatty changed the gender and circumstances surrounding his main character and witnessed her steady decline into possession, mental illness, a horrible Hollywood prank. Friedkin is somewhat cagey about whether he believes she's truly possessed, although the imagery suggests that he does believe. Hello, floating demon face. The Exorcist stars Linda Blair as Regan McNeil, our main character, Ellen Burstyn as her mother Chris, Jason Miller as Father Damien Karras, and Max von Sydow as Father Marin. People who were considered for the movie included Paul Newman, Marlon Brando, Shirley MacLaine, Denise Nickerson, who played Violet in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and Jamie Lee Curtis, whose mother, Janet Lee, who starred in The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock, said, "You may absolutely not play Regan." So that was a wash. The movie was a study in building atmosphere and tension, and it was critically acclaimed for its use of lighting, photography, practical effects, sound, and makeup. Max von Sydow, who was 44 years old at the time he filmed The Exorcist, was absolutely, realistically made to appear as a 74-year-old priest by makeup artist, the godfather of makeup, Dick Smith, who also helped finagle Regan's head-spinning trick. In a crazy example of dedication to the arts, voice actress Mercedes McCambridge ate raw eggs, drank whiskey, and chain-smoked to get the demon Pazuzu's voice just right. Or maybe she just liked to eat raw eggs, drink whiskey, and chain-smoke. I don't know. The award-winning effects used in the movie, although pieced together using 1970s technology and unencumbered by spotty 1970s medical advice, please do not eat raw eggs, drink whiskey, and chain smoke, kids, are still convincing today. It continues to force its audience to consider what Blatty thought was the most important question for humankind. Do you believe? The Exorcist remains today a dominant fixture on lists for the best horror films and the best films of all time. It was included in the Library of Congress in 2010, contributing to its enduring legacy as a masterpiece in storytelling art. When it was first released, it did not have a rating, which was quickly rectified after audiences were reported having strong reactions, fainting, vomiting, crying during its showings.
We have a lot of people throwing up and a lot of people shuddering, but the thing that really surprises me is people faint. I mean, I've never in my life known a movie where people would faint. I mean, it's hard to make people faint.
It was then slapped with an R rating, at the time a death knell for profit margins. But despite this, the film grossed over $190 million after its original run, and it went on to make over $500 million. There has been criticism of the film and of Blatty for sensationalizing Roland Doe's harrowing ordeal that could have signaled mental health issues rather than possession. However, This criticism seems to underline that all-important question the film poses, a question humankind continues to wrestle with today. Do you believe?
All right. Well, Margie, when is the first time you watched The Exorcist?
I was pretty young. I was like 9 or 10, I think. By that time, it had come out on. Occasionally, they would show it on TV, like on Channel 11 or Channel 30. Usually around October, spooky season. And I remember watching it in my living room with my sister. My mom was in the kitchen, so that was a good thing because the kitchen light was on, but we shut off the living room light. But it was at nighttime, and then later I had to try to sleep.
I was probably between 8 and 10 as well. My brother and sister were babysitting me and my cousin, and they made us. I say made us, but I guess kind of they did. They're like, hey, come watch this, whatever, and we did. And at that time, I fully believed in the devil and possession, whatever, and it scared the crap out of me, bud. And I still think it's probably the scariest movie ever.
Okay, yeah. No, I would totally agree with that statement.
Yeah, I thought maybe we'd talk about it as a movie first, and then we'll listen to your mom's interview and talk a little bit more about the overarching theme of evil or whatever, that big question. Yeah. As a movie, it's so well written, acted, and directed. What makes it so scary to me is and there'll probably be some spoilers, but it came out in 1973, folks. So sorry, turn this off if you don't want it. We'll try not to go too hard on them. There's like an hour of character development before anything spooky really even starts happening. You get to know this mother and daughter and their relationship, which is central to the thing. You get to know about this priest and his relationship with his mother and his relationship with his faith, which is central to this. Yeah. And without that, it's just schlock. You've got to have a human connection there, right? And it's just so well done.
I would recommend most movies should spend at least 30 minutes to 60 minutes on character development.
Sure.
So, just tuck that into your pocket, movie makers. Yeah, okay, so we shared this with family who hadn't seen this ever. And it's one of those movies I was kind of envious that they hadn't seen it. Because I was like, they're gonna love it, you know. And yeah, I mean, the reactions were good. I know, just atmosphere. You could probably stop this movie at any moment, take a still shot, and it would be a beautiful photograph, and it would evoke in you a feeling. And that's what this entire movie does. And the farther you get into it, the more and more you're dreading to get to the end, but you gotta get there. It's just an amazing movie, and everything in it is beautiful. And there were a ton of awards, as you saw in the deep dive, ton of awards that were won for that, including for sound, for makeup, it was nominated for Best Picture, and it won for adapted screenplay, I believe, and Blatty did that.
Yeah. We watched it with your brother, and he really enjoyed it as just a film, the scary stuff aside. And that's kind of how I feel about it, too, although, like I said, it scared me the first time, and I still think it's the scariest.
One of the things he said and he's said this about a couple of the older films that he's shared with us, that we've shared with him, he's always like, the silences are so powerful. He's just like, listen, you're not hearing the blast of music and the blare of this and that. You're just in a moment in somebody's life, and so you're actually there. The movie isn't telling you how to feel while you're there with this blast of music and yada yada. Just atmosphere was just amazing.
Well, compared to that, to Exorcist Believers, which we all also watched and we're going to review on the Halloween special, it could be up there at that last Star Trek area whatever movie as the worst thing I've ever seen. Its idea of character development is a fast cut to a speeding car or a loud bang or no scene. I think you said this when we were watching it. No scene, or maybe your brother did. No scene lasts over 10 or 15 seconds, it seems like.
We're not going to give you that review this evening, but I'm going to tell you guys. And you know, we don't share, you know, the toil and the sweat and the and all this stuff. You know, we're show people. Like, you know, the show goes on. You know, but I'm going to tell you, guys, right straight up. We sacrificed for you in watching this movie. We sacrificed so much. It was so bad.
We're gonna put together a big review for you for our Halloween show.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You got to see this review, but that's for another time.
One more thing I would say about the original Exorcist. I've probably only seen it 4 times in my life, maybe. And I don't know if I'll watch it again. It's intense. Like, it's an intense movie. For as good as it is, you feel like you've been through the ringer when it's over.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Also, well, I remember there was this rumor, and please tell us in the comments if this went around your school, because Margie said it didn't hers. But this urban legend went around our school that if you watched The Exorcist, you would die exactly 7 years later. I did not. Or did I?
That's what the Mandela effect is. Oh my gosh, now we know.
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear that urban legend.
Well, it was false.
Was there any, when they presented it, was there like, you know, this one kid that you don't know about, but I know about?
People would just say crap at my school, man.
You know.
I just assumed every school was like that.
Oh, I'm sure we had our urban legends. I know, you know, Bloody Mary was one of ours.
Although there was nothing urban about my school. My graduating class was 42 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like you, I'm sorry, hon. Did you want to transition?
No. Oh, is that what you were doing, though?
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what I was going to do. Go see this movie if you haven't seen this movie. We cannot recommend it enough.
If you're an adult, it's a hard R.
Don't say it with your kids.
Or if you're a kid.
See it first and you know, think about what you want your, you know, whatever. But it's a great movie. This next clip is of our special guest, which is my mom. And she worked for a construction company who worked at Alexian Brothers Hospital, which is where the most of the part of Ronald's exorcisms took place. So there were a couple that happened in Georgetown, I believe, and then the bulk of them happened at Alexian Brothers in St. Louis. And I interviewed my mom because she had been there and she has seen the room, even though it was closed to the public.
Here we go. And when we get back, we'll discuss, again, our theme, evil with a capital E.
Mm-hmm. Hi, guys. It's Margie from the Gen Xers. I'm here with a very special guest.
Yeah.
My mother, otherwise known as Ma, otherwise known as Magraw, would be her full Christian name. We call her Ma a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. But Ma is here to tell us a story about her experiences in the very hospital where the exorcist of Roland Doe, which is the identity, you know, it's the name they gave the kid,
right?
That had the exorcist in the Alexian Brothers Hospital in St. Louis, and you worked on that hospital.
Yes.
When you worked as a plumber.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about it.
All right. I'm estimating that this was about the summer of 1977, and I worked for a very large plumbing contractor in St. Louis, and we did a lot of jobs all over town, large hospitals, and we went to Alexian Brothers quite often, the old Alexian Brothers building that was there for forever.
It was there for a long time.
Yeah. And it was very Victorian looking from the outside. So I worked as an apprentice plumber for 4 years and was required by the union to always work with a journeyman. I was not allowed to work alone. So I was paired up with this journeyman that I won't name because I didn't like him a lot. He was a dyed-in-the-wool Catholic, which of course Alexian Brothers was a Catholic hospital, and he was kind of, I would say, not a good Catholic. I mean, but he was friends with a lot of the higher ups in the Catholic Church in St. Louis, the Archbishop, the higher up priests, and he was friends with the director of Alexian Brothers at the time. And he told me when we went there this particular day, he said, "Oh, you've seen The Exorcist, right?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, I'm friends with the priest that he was not the exorcist, but he was present during the exorcism at the hospital. They did the actual exorcism in Alexian Brothers Hospital." He said the parents were not allowed there. It was just the priests and the exorcists. And he said, and this priest will take us to the room where it happened. At that time, I believe ever since the exorcism actually happened, they had closed the entire floor. And I don't remember what floor it was, but it was one of the upper floors. And there was no activity, no personnel there. It was just completely closed off. I know that the elevator would not stop at that floor, that we had to get off on the, I believe it was the bottom floor underneath, and climb the stairs to get into the floor area. And it was very large area. It had multiple rooms. There was an old, like a receiving desk in the middle, and then to the right there were a row of rooms, and this one was, I believe, close to the top of that hallway. And the ceilings were very high because it was an old building. Yes.
I have to ask real fast, like, how many beds would you say were on that floor? Like, if you had to estimate, how many beds did they shut down when they shut down that entire floor?
I would say about 40.
So, I mean, they were serious about it, because
they were very serious.
That's profit for them.
Yeah.
You know, that they just cut off that whole floor.
They did.
Okay.
It was dusty. It was not, like, maintained. I mean, it wasn't crumbling or anything, but no one went there. No one.
I bet not.
No.
As a janitor, I know
I'd
be like, no.
And anyway, the priest was telling us on the way there, he wasn't really open about a lot of it, because the guy I was working with is like pumping him, "Hey, what was it like? What happened?" and stuff. And this priest was pretty serious, and he said, "Well, I can't really, go into detail," but he said he took us to the door, and the door was nailed shut. And of course, my journeyman guy is going, "Oh, can we go in?" He goes, "No, you cannot go in." He said, "This door has been nailed shut since that happened." He said, "No one has ever been back in that room, and they won't be." And he said, "But I can tell you that I saw things in there that I've never seen before or since." And that's all he would tell us, really.
Wow.
But yeah, it was pretty.
And you stood outside that door.
Yeah.
Like, you stood outside of it.
Yeah.
Did you see anything odd or feel
No.
anything odd
No,
or
it was
hear
just
anything odd?
it's just a weird vibe.
Like, hello,
no,
can I come out, please?
no, no.
I'm nice now.
It was just the whole vibe of the place was like it was just dead.
Yeah.
You know, no noise, no, phones ringing or conversation or patients. It was just noiseless,
Yeah.
and all the doors were shut, but that door was nailed shut.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Wow.
and no one went in there, and he said no one ever would. So, I
you-
believe him.
I was going to say, well, okay, so you believe in that nobody will ever go in, and that's true because they later tore down that entire wing and then the entire hospital.
Yeah,
right?
the hospital's gone now.
And that's
Yeah.
just because I think they consolidated with another hospital, and it was a really old,
Very.
really old building. There is a facility called the City Museum in St. Louis that is a play place for kids and adults. It's a great place. If you ever come to St. Louis, you should definitely go to the City Museum. But they have pieces of the Alexian Brothers wing that went down. That
Really?
include like some of the stone, marble fireplaces that they had, the gargoyles, some of the architectural pieces they kept in that museum.
If I remember right, the front facade of that building, it was a big, long building, was like a dark stone color. It wasn't brick. It wasn't concrete. It was like a really dark stone. It looked spooky from the outside, but it was very solidly built from way back. I also saw on I don't know if you are familiar with a famous medium, Chip Coffey.
I don't think
He
so.
was on. He's been on several ghost, shows and stuff, and he said that he visited the Exorcist house, which was this child's aunt's house. His parents actually lived in another state, and they sent him to his aunt's house initially because she was involved supposedly with the Catholic Church, and they were the only ones that would consider doing an exorcism. But when the time came for the exorcism to take place, they took him from the house, his aunt's house, to Alexian Brothers. Chip Coffey visited the aunt's house, which is still there, and he said it's open like as a tourist attraction or whatever.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he said it was disturbing because there were like occult things in there, and that there was in their bedroom there was a Nazi flag hanging over the bed of these people, and that's like okay, I don't know about that, but
Wow.
yeah, he swears that place was cursed. So
I have to ask, as I'm just going to ask,
Yeah.
just to see. Do you believe the story?
yes,
You do believe the story?
yep,
That he was actually had to be exorcised of a demon?
yeah.
Okay.
And so did the priest that showed us the room, and it took multiple days.
Yeah.
He said it was a drawn out process. They had to do shifts because they couldn't leave him,
Right.
alone. And he said just things manifested that he would not elaborate on, but that were truly supernatural.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Thank you to my mom who did that lovely interview and story for us. She's a good storyteller. Thanks,
Yeah,
Mom.
yeah, that was really good. And when I was growing up, every hack comedian and TV sitcom had jokes about how much you were going to hate your mother-in-law, so I was awful worried about it as a kid. But I love my mother-in-law. She's about as good as you could get.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say. She's a good mom, too. And I like the way she tells stories, and I might ask her back. Especially because later on this month, we're going to be telling some spooky stories.
I imagine she could tell a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
Few other housekeeping notes before we get to our big philosophical discussion. Hiberian, Ermin, and Chris, thank you all for keeping that chat going. We do appreciate it. The results of our poll. Do you believe in evil with capital E? I didn't define it any more than that, but 58% of the respondents, and we got a decent amount of responses for this for us, said yes. 17% said no, and 25% said not sure. So yeah, almost 60% do believe in evil with capital E. Probably they all define it a little bit differently, but overall I guess it would mean something beyond the human realm.
Well, I don't know. I was one of the people who said yes. Because my gut response was, yeah, there is evil, right? Mm-hmm. But then the more I thought about it, it's such a deep, deep question.
Sure, that's why we're going to cover it in 10 minutes on YouTube.
That's right. We're gonna get to the bottom of it right now for you guys. But no, like when my initial gut response is yes, there's evil. But then when I think about it, I think, evil usually comes from a cycle, somebody learning something that's not great and continuing with that thing. I think where it becomes bad or evil, I mean, this is kind of evil with a lowercase though, right? Yeah. I guess where it becomes evil for me is, if somebody learns that they're doing something that's harmful and they still continue to do it and they make the choice, like, I don't care. Like, that's kind of, I guess that's the inception of little e evil. Big E evil, I don't know. I've seen some crazy things. I've seen some things that I'm like, I don't feel super hot about that. That seems pretty dark, but I don't know about evil with a capital E.
Well, my short answer is yes, and I'm going to give my long answer. But yeah, I think to me at least, what you're mostly talking about is capital little E, or evil with a little e, which I definitely do believe in that.
Right.
Do I think a person can be evil with a capital E? I don't know. When I think about, we think about a personal level, the things you feel guilty about when you were angry or you said something that you regret or did something you regret, it's usually because we're hurt, not because we're evil. Somebody does something that hurts us physically, or more often than not hurts our feelings, so we react in a way we regret. Now, I've always imagined that people who do that on a consistent basis probably just have so much pain inside that this is what they do. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being Pollyanna about it. I don't think people are beyond redemption, though, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Do I believe there's a force out there that we might call evil? I believe in good. I believe there's a force of good, so I'm going to give the real long answer. All right. I've talked on here before about how I used to win my Bible Sunday school quiz every Sunday because I was food motivated and the prize was a candy bar. And that's partly true.
I'm still food motivated, by the way.
But I was also very religious as a child. I was very pious. I took it very seriously, and I'd probably read the entire Bible before I was a teenager. That's not to brag. I just kind of let you know my mindset at the time, because I think it does become relevant. In fact, my Aunt Ruby, who my dog is named after, by the way, who everyone said had dreams that came true. I've talked a little bit about that on this channel as well, and my own experience with that, but that's what people said. When I was born, she told my mom I was either going to be a preacher or a teacher, and preacher was in the top 3 next to comedy writer and professional wrestler. Up until I was about 15 or 14 probably, and that's, I guess when I started losing faith some. My brother died in a car wreck, and that was incredibly traumatic, and I was in shock for like 2 years after that, I guess. And then the other part of the equation was the church I went to, their belief was that no matter how good of life you lived, if you committed one sin, no matter how small, and even accidental, and then you died before you asked forgiveness, you would go to hell for eternity, I guess. And I became so obsessed with that idea that I could not stop praying in my head. I got so OCD about it. And I got to the point where I was like, I have to stop. And the only way I knew how at the time was just to cut all of that off, I guess, and I did. And so from then up until well after we were married and beyond, I was pretty much, if science can't explain it, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And then something happened, which I've talked about before on this channel, only hinted at. I keep saying I'm going to tell the story, and I will, but not this Halloween. I'll do it for November. But then something happened that changed my mind on that. And I do believe the universe is a lot more grand and mysterious than I thought before. So I do believe in a goodness, I guess. I don't understand the mysteries of the universe. I'm not a theologian. I'm not going to try to explain them. I just kind of have my gut, probably like most people. And so I believe in that. Maybe I do have to believe in an evil. I don't know. I'm not thinking about, when I picture it in my mind, I'm not thinking about one entity that looks a certain way or has a certain name or anything. It's more of just an negative energy. Maybe like Jung said, it's the collective shadow self of humanity, all of our worst things buried down until they become their own evil entity. Maybe it is something ancient. I don't know. It's beyond my pay grade, but I believe in something. I know that sounds like a cop-out, but I can't yet wrap my head around what it is.
I mean, I get the idea of, you know, if you've got a coin and one side is good, then you have to accept that the other side is bad and that it's all part of one coin. Because I kind of feel the same way. You know, it's such a tough question to answer. And of course, everybody's answers are going to be variable depending on what you've experienced. I would say that I, at least, and I hope everybody out there does this, I try to explore, you know, I try to explore my own spirituality for sure. Whether it's, you know, meditating, sitting in nature, picking up a religious book and reading it, you know, writing about whatever it is. I would just encourage everybody to just kind of, you know, always go towards the light. If you can, go towards the good side, but explore that yourself. Because it can be eye-opening when you start looking into those deep, deep questions. I mean, I don't think we do that enough nowadays. We're too busy scrolling. Put your phone down and sit in nature and think about good and evil, dude. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's
A lot of times when people talk about their beliefs, they come from it from a perspective where they're trying to convince other people to believe their same thing. Definitely not what we're doing, because, like I said, I don't know. I don't even have it fully defined in my own head, but yeah, I do believe that in something.
This movie, if you see The Exorcist, and again, if you can watch an R-rated movie, and you know, I would totally recommend it for you. It's a really good movie, but it's going to make you think about those questions. And although the movie may lean more one way, it doesn't come down hard really in either direction. You're still left kind of wondering.
I would say I disagree with that assessment. I know people say that, and the director said that, but there's stuff in there that could not have happened without demonic possession in the movie, not the book. In the book, it seems like it could go either way. In the movie, there's that demon face, there's the actual demon, there's a head that gets twisted around as a circle.
Yeah. I mean, you have a good argument there, you know. Floating
It's hard to blame that on a psychological problem.
Floating demon heads?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments what you think. I'm sorry for my vague answer. I've thought all week about this and how to put it. But again, most of my beliefs are instinctual at the moment and hard to put into words. Believe it or not, I used to be a teacher and a writer, but I feel pretty inarticulate when it comes to this stuff.
I mean, that's what this movie's about, is to kind of get you thinking about that. And Blatty and Friedkin and everybody in the movie did a great job. Next week, we're going to be reviewing another Halloween movie. The Frighteners, I think, is next week. Be sure you ring the bell to get notified, because you don't know what we're going to be talking about. You just never know. You got to hit that bell and get notified.
I got one more question.
Okay.
If you believe that there's an underlying consciousness in the universe, is one underlying consciousness of this, and where would you put evil in that? Then it's all part of the same thing.
Not necessarily, because what about...
but you just wouldn't judge it, right? It's just what it is. You wouldn't... I don't know.
Well, not necessarily. What if we're all one consciousness, let's view us as one body. If you have an illness, are you going to be okay with that illness being in there? Or do you want to get rid of it?
I don't know.
You know, so, I mean, that's a totally different way to think about it. You've given me more food for thought, Dan.
Right, stuff will... Who knows? I guess one day we'll know the answers. Anyway, yeah, join us next week for The Frighteners. A decidedly way more fun movie than The Exorcist.
Yeah, you're not gonna feel like you've gone through the ringer once you get done with The Frighteners.
There'll be no deep existential questions.
Right. Leave your scary true stories, and we may read them in our Halloween special.
Yeah.
Leave any questions you have. Leave any thoughts you have. Don't leave without hitting that bell.
Yeah, hit that like, subscribe button, ring that bell, because we talk about different stuff all the time. YouTube's algorithm don't know where to put us a lot, so only one way to make sure you catch us.
That's right.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Bye, guys.